They get an experience that makes them want to tell somebody else. That's the best form of marketing.
One thing I'm really excited about this episode is that not only just because Khalil is a good friend of mine, but Khalil is an amazing creator, turned founder, turned entrepreneur, and so much more. He has a background in mechanical engineering. He's worked at Meta. He has had his own 4,000 square foot studio and community in Stafford, Texas, right outside of Houston. And now you have your own app. How is that going?
You know what? First, before we get started, I want to say thank you so much for having me on the show. I followed your journey from both the outside and the inside, and I'm grateful to call you a friend. I'm grateful to call you family, and so I just want to get that out the way first. But the app is moving. I think the pivots. You like learn from them, and when it comes to entrepreneurship, it's like one of the greatest life experiences you can have.
Last year, at the time, people were able to book studios and co-working spaces through your platform on a single subscription, using their credits, kind of like the class pass for co-working spaces. But you saw a deeper issue. You saw a deeper issue in community sustaining it, making it profitable. And for myself, when I was in Miami, I had a certain kind of community, but I never had the platform that really backed me. So can you tell me, what is Collab now?
In short, I always say for Host, we're a membership management platform that allows you to host your events, communicate with your members, and grow your organization. So be able to start it, scale it, and actually monetize your community. And then from a community side, we say it's like the app for social clubs, right? You can find social clubs on there. You can find membership organizations. You can join them. You can join their events. And it just brings everything all together. And the biggest thing that I've seen is if, we're comparing, it's like having your LinkedIn, your Facebook group, and, your Eventbrite all in one.
How does Collab disrupt the growing market with social clubs?
Typically, where do you go to find a new social club? What app do you use to find a new social club? You're looking through Instagram, you're looking through TikTok. Even if you're trying to do organic search with like social media, you're really only finding the organizations that have the brick and mortars, like the legacy versions of social clubs. But now there's this new version of social clubs, these run clubs where people are meeting up, they're hosting events, they're creating community without having a physical space. And the gap in the market is like, where do you go to find them? After you find them, it's like, okay, cool. Maybe one's on Eventbrite, maybe one hosts through Posh, then they have a WhatsApp chat, or they have like a group me. Like, you're having to do all these different things to try to like build community, and I think it should be way simpler. And our goal is to make it simple and easy, one, to run and organize a social club, but then make it super accessible to just find and search and browse and find the one that's exactly for you.
How much money do you think people can save joining your platform so they can focus on profitability and scalability?
For sure, like our current model is, as you grow, we grow. So it's like we're not taking any money truly until you really reach to the point where now your community is, pouring back into you. I've seen the gap of when you're first starting out, or when you're like, really getting your community going and you're figuring out how to monetize the tools that are accessible to truly bring everything all in one. They're super expensive. But then once you're really established, you may have all of these, these great tools that are, you're paying like that monthly fee for, but you're operating in a silo, and it's now up to you to find new people. It's up to you to bring people to you. And so I think there's that like disconnect to where we're able to, one, bridge those gaps between something that's affordable, something that's accessible, but then something that makes your brand look good because, it looks great, it feels great, it elevates what you already have while still growing with you.
So what's actually moving the needle, right, to get these curators on your platform that have these social clubs?
To make them feel comfortable, make them feel seen, hosting events where they can meet other curators and they can, talk about the struggles and the problems that they're having. It's a natural fit to put our product in front of them and say like, hey, we can help solve these extra problems outside of, this event.
So if there's a social club owner right now that's listening that's pretty overwhelmed, where would you tell them to start at? Not just with your platform, but like what would be their first way that they could, scale to getting their first like even 10, 15 members?
Even on up, right? So the first thing that I do is really figure out who do you want to bring to the table. What type of people is your social club, bringing together, right? So you may be a wellness social club where everything is around wellness and fitness. So you're doing a lot of fitness events, or you may be like a lifestyle social club where the main thing that y'all are doing is bringing people together, going to dinners. You're, curating like that, like friendship. And then of course when there's groups that are maybe women led, like this is only for women entrepreneurs, right? So I think the first step is narrowing down exactly the type of people that you want to be in your social club. And then from there, I will look out and use your resources and see who's already in your circle that fits that demographic. Because I think the main thing is once you can figure out exactly who you want in the room, it's as simple as just reaching out and be like, hey, I would love to invite you to come to this event. And one of the best pro tips I've always say is getting a table of 10 people at a restaurant and be like, hey, do you have a private room or something like that? It can go a
Right.
long way because it doesn't cost you much. And then on top of that, you're just bringing people together. And then once you get that first 10, if you take, some photos, a videography, whatever, tell those 10, hey, invite somebody else the next time. And then you start building up that cadence of, okay, we're going to meet every month, every Thursday, one Thursday a month at 7 p.m. We're going to go for dinner, right? Then that
Right.
branches into, okay, cool, we have 10 people. Now we have that rhythm going. So now it's like, okay, cool. Instead of us doing a dinner of 10 people, how about we try to do a dinner of 20 people? Let me reach out to more people. And it's going to spread naturally. But then once you get that cadence going and you can use the people in your circle to invite more people, it's going to grow organically. And then as you start generating, people
Revenue.
that's like, hey, I just got the invite, I'm curious, then you can start, hosting, bigger events, renting out venues, doing partnerships and doing deals. And I think that's like the gap that people don't realize is that it's as simple as saying like, hey, we're going to meet up at 7 o'clock at this restaurant down the street.
I want to dig in a little bit on that branding piece because I wanted to tap in on like where do you think people are leaving money on the table, but I do want to lean into that branding piece. People are getting very lazy with AI, right? And they're becoming less intentional, with leveraging AI. But I don't think people realize when you're using AI, you know, in a negative way to produce terrible looking like even flyers or branding kits that already cost you money, right? Where else do you see people leaving money on the table in the social club space?
I think the real thing that they're leaving on the table was what happens in between each event, each experience. That communication is the thing that, with collab, like we focus on so much. It's like, okay, cool. What is the funnel from I just RSVP to an event? I just join your community. What happens after? How can we stay
Right.
connected? How can you continue giving those touch points
Yeah.
before, during, and after an event? I think that's what people leave on the table, and most platforms do as well. Is what comes after the experience, in between the downtime when nobody's talking to each other. How do you be able to give somebody an intro and say, hey, Bree, I think you should meet Brian for this reason? How do you communicate and be like, hey, drop some wins in the chat? Or if you have any questions, reach out to me. Or how does your community encourage them to join other communities that can unlock doors for them? Those are the
Right.
things that I pay attention to most. Because everybody focuses on what happened before the event, during the event. But what happens is really that lifetime value that all curators should be paying attention to, because I would much rather have 50 people that come to every single event I host than keep trying to get a new 50, a new 50, a new
Of
50.
course. That's a good point. That is a good point. And since you see that insight, right? Because as we're you're seeing that with social clubs, and you see that social clubs can get, the teams are small and they can get burnt out, and often they have other jobs as they're building this on the side. With you seeing like, where people lack at and probably would benefit from, because that's where they're leaving money on the table. How can you take that, right? Like all that information you took me, how can you take that and input that into your platform? Is your platform going to be lean to be a little bit more agentic, where maybe it could send out or prepare products, not products, after, after the event surveys, and different touch point templates and stuff. Like, is there anything that you see on Collab's roadmap that can kind of be like a Collab community manager for these social clubs, so that way they kind of alleviate themselves from having to do those multiple touch points and they're already set up for them, and they pretty much just need to push a button.
Yeah, for sure. So I would say, the first thing, the way the platform is already set up, if somebody's RSVPing for an event, we have an auto join community feature to where you don't even have to try to get them to join the community after they're already in the community just by joining the event, right? So now any touch point that you have, anything that you drop in the chat, they'll automatically, get emailed, they get the notification. So those flows are already in place to where it's easy. But then additionally, for each user that joins the platform, we automatically recommend, hey, here's 3 people that you should meet. Here's some events in your city. And then here's some communities that you may want to look into. So we're already doing those things like automatically to alleviate some of the pressure of you having to like do those touch points. But I think from a host perspective, one of the features that we're working on now is to where literally you can just talk to chat and say like, hey, can you send an update email, and it'll automatically do it. Hey, can you update the address to the next event? Or hey, can you create this next event for me? To where now, instead of you having to input everything manually, you literally just talk it out. Like, this is my super secret that you're hearing first. This is how I actually like create events, run the platform. It's just by talking to chat. And the plan is to give that functionality to our host, to where now it's as simple as saying like, hey, I'm thinking about hosting an event on July 7th at the Garden. Can you create the event for me? And it'll say, okay, cool. Can you drop in the flyer? It'll drop in the flyer, it'll create the event. And all you have to do is talk to chat or,
Right.
type it in yourself. And so these are things that we, kind of already working on, and I'm super
Yeah.
excited about because this is what I personally do. So that's our goal, is to make it to where it's as hands off as possible. Like I've we've built it, on our back end to where you got like a little helper, just running around creating events for you, updating things. And so it's like, how can we empower our hosts to run autopilot like we do?
Yeah, no, that's such a good point, because that's really where software is going. Like, it can't just solve a problem anymore. It has to actually be doing the actions of the problem. And I love that. I love that these agentic workflows you already have and what's coming down the roadmap is really going to help really like shorten the time frame it takes for these social clubs to be running on its own as much as possible and scaling. Like, if someone knows they can come on their platform and grow like 400%, not just because you got how you guys have it set up, but the workflows that already, helps them grow on its own. All they gotta do is start getting the people in. Like, you're good to go. And I'm excited about that. So as we wrap up, I love to ask, like, what's one thing a curator can do this week so they can start growing their revenue?
Yeah, I would say the one thing that a creator can do to grow their revenue, and this is something like I personally do. If you know me, I personalize everything.
Mhm.
Personalized outreaches. I think, making people feel special. And so when we do this thing, when we host our invite only events, every single person that RSVPs, we give them a custom card with their name on it. It doesn't cost too much to
Yeah.
produce, but because of that, they're able to take a picture, post it on their Instagram, share other people the experience that they're, giving. And so I think the main thing is thinking about, how can I ensure that each person that comes to my community, they get an experience that's Instagrammable. That's the best form of marketing. And that's how we've been able to grow like, 100% month over month, like literally this past month, by just like creating those moments that people want to share with other people.
I love that. I love that, because again, y'all, you guys have social clubs, so making people feel invited, communal, like, experiences are marketing. Whether it's a product, the experience on your product is its own version of marketing, because people will then become a referral. So, and it's the same thing. If you're getting people to come out their house, possibly have to get a babysitter, possibly have to get their wife or husband to watch the kids, possibly have to take off running around after work, and they end up in your space, they actually trust you enough to be there. So now it's just a matter of how do you keep them. And I even have taken some stuff out of your book, because I had my first event for what I want to grow as a social club one day, and we got to make sure we have our stuff on collab too. But we want to eventually turn our what was a monthly event. Eventually, I want to turn it into a social club. Right now, it's starting as a monthly event for the marketing department, which is the podcast and the events that get attached to it. But it's also the partnerships. Everybody who joins the marketing department gets a discount to a local spa. They get a discount from certain coffee shops. They get a discount on the platform. Creators end up being on the platform for free as well. Like it's partnerships too, right? And I think that adds to the experiences. This other person who's coming online at some point that I want to connect y'all is Krista Monet. She has one of the dopest events out here in Houston. She has private dinners, and they expanded so much with her partnerships that she's having something on a cruise now, right? Something that went from private dinners. By the time she got to her fourth or fifth one, a cruise reached out to her. And I think that's so important because that leaned into your sponsorship. So it's like if the experience are so good, at some point a brand wants to sponsor it, and you never know, that sponsorship package, might be for a whole 3, 6, 12 months. You might have a salary in your hands. So I'm really excited to see how these social clubs continue growing on collab, whether it's the partnerships, the experiences, the revenue. And I definitely can't wait to bring you back at some point just to see what that data looks like at the end of the year, as far as like how much people have grown month over month, and the tools you have on the platform that's helped them grow, because essentially it helps y'all grow revenue rise. So as we wrap up, like, where can people find you and get on collab?
You can find us everywhere at Join Collab. So JoinKahlab, and then for me it's Khalil B Martin, KHLILB MARTIN on everything as well. I mean, if you're a social club, you're a curator and you're watching this, I would love for you to, if you can, reach out. Literally, like, if you DM us, we'll respond back and I'll talk to you personally. I'm one of those founders that I do my best to talk to each and every club owner and really get an understanding of why did you build this organization, what areas are you struggling with, and then how can we help. I think that's one of the big things is the free gem that I'll give everybody. There's this book called Unreasonable Hospitality, and it just talks about going the like extra mile with like everything. And I think it's something that as a founder of a social club, as a founder just in general, if you can get used to just going the extra mile with everything you do with those touch points, you'll notice people will sing your praises. People will try to give you opportunities because they can always remember how somebody made them feel. And that's the biggest thing that we do with collab is we try to make you feel seen as much as possible.
I love it. And I can attest to that. I've had some of my vibe coding stuff on collab. I've had some of my clients, use collab. So I can definitely attest that this is a great platform to start on and to grow on as well. And I look forward to seeing how collab helps you grow as a social club, but also just seeing collab's growth as well. And remind me, you guys have an open round for investors?
Yes, we do. You have to talk to me personally. That's definitely something we can talk about.
Perfect, because I know investors be listening into these podcasts as well. So that's good to know. So if y'all are interested in cutting the check, y'all are going to have to reach out to Khalil as well, for sure. But thank you so much. So I'll let you hop off, and then I'm going to wrap this up, and then I'm going to catch you later. All right, y'all. So I just had Khalil Martin on here. That was an outstanding episode, and I took away a few different things. Number one is touch points. Whether you have a social club, whether you have a product, whether you have a service, touch points is the biggest thing to keep people from churning. Number two is agentic workflows. Now that if you're a founder listening to this, and whether you're building an app, or a service or a product, you need to have workflows set up where the customer feels like they can focus on the main thing and not have to focus on all the back end work. So on Khalil's platform, the community management side, the touch point side, the getting members to interact with each other side. That's what made Posh stand out when they were competing with the Eventbrites, the Lumas, and so much more, right? I had loved the fact that they had the social experience on the platform, and that's what made me go from Eventbrite to Posh, right? So if now that I'm starting and getting the marketing department to turn into a social club at some point, now that's what's going to get me going from Luma to collab. is that collab actually allows the people on the platform to interact with each other. Luma would not, you know what I'm saying? Not the way that I need them to interact with each other. So I love the fact that collab has that, and that stands out. Experience as marketing is the third point. You want people to enjoy it so much that they talk about it. That's what starts a referral network, you know, and qualifying people too, the kind of people you want in the room, because that adds to the experience. And lastly, sponsorships and partnerships helps add to the experience. That was my key takeaways talking to Khalil. Talking to him was amazing, because whether, like I said, whether you are a social club or a social club owner or not, you know, or even thinking about it, the biggest takeaway is that no matter what you do and no matter what you're starting, if you have a great experience, system, touch points, and workflow set up, you could become profitable at anything that you do or start. But you just got to start. It was great having him on, and look forward to the next episode of the marketing department. Catch y'all later.